There were conflicts of a different kind affecting those living in Prussia, including three of my grandparents' families, the Wiederholds, the Polishers, and the Theodors, while the fourth generation family, the Brinkmans, lived in Lübeck on the Baltic coast, north of Felsberg. Thomas Wilhelm and Charlotte Margaretha Wiederhold had 2 sons and 1 daughter. One of the sons, Karl Wilhelm, born in Memmel 1803, became a Protestant preacher in Starograd, Schönau, Schöneck, and later in Mariensee in West Prussia. He married Laurette Friedrika Ahrends. Together they had 4 sons, 5 daughters, and 3 died early on. The other grandparent's story is related later in the saga, from about 1850 onwards. Russia, prior to the 1812 French invasion, had expelled from its territory both Swedish and the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth influence, introducing the Romanov Dynasty, gaining access to the Baltic Sea, east of the Gulf of Finland, founded Petersburg under Peter the Great's rule, and controlled the Orthodox Church, together with fighting the Ottoman Empire and encroaching on the Caucasus, Caspian Sea, Persia and China, thereby expanding from the Baltic Sea to the Pacific Ocean. Lands with a population of 14 million had a short growing season, and potatoes were not yet widespread. The Cossacks, traditionally nomadic, of various East Slavic tribes with the Ostrogoths in the mix, lived mainly in the southwestern territories of Russia and the eastern part of the Commonwealth, roughly today's Belarus and Ukraine. They exercised democratic self-rule and independence with orthodox beliefs. From 1550 onwards, they repeatedly rebelled against the Russian and the Commonwealth authorities, but were always crushed. Yet they were a military class, similar to the knights of the medieval Europe, fighting the Ottomans and Great North, 7-year Crimean, Napoleonic, Caucasus, Persian and Turkish wars. Catherine II, the Great, after the murder of her Germanic incompetent husband, became the enlightened despot in 1762, patronized the arts, science and learning, legalized the selling of serfs separate from the land in 1773 by allying with the rulers of Austria and Prussia, incorporated the territories of the Commonwealth, partitions of Poland, pushing the Russian frontier westward into Central Europe, and continued to expand southwards. Jewish people were colonized to the Pale of Settlement on the western border with Europe, as far as the Vistula River, and prohibited Jewish trading elsewhere in Russia, while in Prussia the Jews had trading rights but a higher taxation than non-Jews. In 1807, serfdom was abolished in East Prussia, and in 1812 Napoleon invaded lands east of France and defeated combined Prussian and Russian forces on their way to Moscow. But the severe winter crippled their logistical support. Thus he was forced to retreat. After Napoleon's retreat from Russia, the Russians pursued the French all the way to Paris. Both military campaigns caused great distress, with famine, death, typhus throughout Prussia and elsewhere. After 1814, Alexander became King of Poland and Finland, and with Austria and Prussia attempted to suppress revolutionary movements in Europe that threatened the Christian monarchs, such as Nicholas I's suppression of the Decembrist revolt 1825, with many of them being sent to Siberia. West Europeans' economic growth, thus power, led by England, accelerated with the advent of the Industrial Revolution, sea control, trade and colonization. The scramble for Africa, amongst others, was countered by an imbalance between the population growth, work opportunities, food availability, and continual warring for trade control with nations switching alliances. In 1856, England and France supported the Ottomans to defeat Russia in the Crimean War. This situation fermented the populace into civil unrest with socialistic, Darwinism, and an imperialistic mood, resulting in mass evacuations over the seas. Nature intervened again, known as the Irish Potato Famine, 1845, which affected the whole of Europe. Up to 1820, about 2.6 million Europeans had migrated to North America. From 1820 to 1860, another 6 million arrived, mostly on sailing vessels, predominantly Irish, Germanic and British. By 1914, over 30 million had landed via steamships, with another 20 million in the rest of the world. Alexander II, 1855 to 1881, under pressure, abolished serfdom in 1861. 23 million serfs of a total of 67 million population lived in Russia. It brought a supply of free labor to the cities. Industry was stimulated and the middle class grew in numbers and influence. He sold Alaska to the United States in 1867, established the League of the Three Emperors with Germany and Austria, and stripped the Commonwealth of its constitution. He sent thousands of dissidents into exile in Siberia, and then was assassinated in 1881.